Center Live. Thanks for joining us. Today, I'm meteorologist Chris Warren.
And I'm meteorologist Maria Larosa. We're one day closer to the holiday weekend, but some places are going to have to deal with a lot of rain and along with that, severe storms.
Yeah, so
Exactly, Miguel. We're talking about more rain, and along with that, it's not coming in a nice little trickle. A lot of it's coming down quite heavily. We are still dealing with rainfall in the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area. A lot of the heaviest has pushed off to the east, right along I-20, though. So you are going to be feeling, if you're heading eastbound out of Dallas, that is going to be right along your route. We go all the way to Shreveport, and you see the sort of eastward movement of the rain showers, but slowly to the south. So that's telling us that it is raining heavily in spots for a long period of time. So it's not in and out. A couple of flash flood warnings we want to talk to you about. Lufkin in Angelina counties, Hudson, that affects you out until 10 a.m. Central Time. A lot of these spots have picked up a lot of rain the last few hours. Additional rainfall is just going to add insult to injury, and maybe a few of those areas that haven't seen the high water may be seeing that right now. But look at where it's clear. West Texas right now, but you know the trend has been for that not to last very long. And in fact, we have showers and thunderstorms in the forecast today in that zone, but still for eastern Texas too. And guess what? Even tomorrow, more showers and thunderstorms for western Texas into Oklahoma. And when you talk about how much this is going to add up, you bet it's several inches. And it's not just in 1 or 2 days, but for the next few days here through at least Saturday, maybe as much, Chris, as 3 to 5 additional inches of rainfall in some of the hard to see. But some of the very familiar areas that we've been sort of covering the last few weeks, in fact. So we'll start with today. The orange colors, those general showers and thunderstorms. Still have to pay attention to those. Damaging winds are possible. Lightning, of course, but it's that area in red that we talk about the severe. So Fort Stockton down to Laredo. The pattern is there, stuck in a rut. You have that upper level low pressure. Think of that as sort of the powerhouse that you need to kind of give that extra oomph to the atmosphere there that brings those showers and thunderstorms growing. You certainly need the fuel. That's not being shut off. All of that moisture being pulled north from the Gulf of Mexico. So you have dew points into the 60s. It is juicy air. And then you have the triggers, the boundaries. The dry line has been key in some of the big severe weather events that we've talked about the last few weeks. And once again, setting up across western Texas tomorrow from Amarillo, Midland, down to Fort Stockton, damaging winds and hail, big threats, and of course that heavy rain. But even into Saturday, we still have all of those ingredients coming together, plenty of warmth, and you see those surface winds turning just a little bit, and that's going to mean just enough extra instability. So you have places like Oklahoma City looking at...
This is Weather Center Live, and this is a look at your weekend forecast. Look familiar, Houston?
Showers and thunderstorms. And you know, every time we're talking about this now, it seems this month goes along with heavy rain, flash flooding, not out of the question. We've seen so much in this area.
Yeah, and here it is.
Yeah.
A look at Saturday, the entire country with all of the green here, and then the flashing lightning bolts is where within the rain there could be some thunderstorms. And
then we have this.
Nice.
East of the Mississippi, I got to tell you, not too bad. Charlotte 82, New York in the 70s for now.
Let's see what happens on Sunday. And we'll look at the Mississippi. It's still kind of there.
You got temperatures, though. That's going to be the next story there. It's going to start that heat. It's going to feel like summer. But yeah, the midsection, lots of showers and thunderstorms staying put.
And then heads up in the Northeast on Monday, some areas, some showers maybe sneaking into the last minute for the barbecue or the picnic there.
Right. And then, of course, the inland Northwest, a few showers. So any national parks and camping, and just be aware of some of the changing weather there.
And it looks great in D.C. A little on the warm side, 90 and a little stormy possibly on Monday.
Yeah. So we know Memorial Day is traditionally seen as the start of the summer season, and right on cue, as we mentioned, those temperatures, even into the south, are going to be on the way up. 80s and 90s, we're talking.
Meteorologist Mike Seidel joins us from Kennesaw Mountain National Battlefield Park outside of Atlanta. And good morning to you.
The 70s climbing into the 80s, and yes, even 90s. But time stepping you through the day today. If you're doing any sightseeing, I know the kids are still in school. You've got some showers through 5 o'clock, the dinner hour. Any practices may be rained out a bit, but you've got cloudy skies. Look at the temperatures. What you see is what you get out there, and they're going to stick into the 50s, so it feels a little cool out there. The good news is, if you're doing any traveling, just checked the airports. No delays because of any of the low cloudiness or the rain showers. We'll keep an eye on that. That may change with traffic increasing later today out ahead of the busy holiday week. We head down to Virginia and North Carolina, though. A few showers, heavier showers, especially if you're heading down, say, 85 there, 64, so keep an eye on that. We're going to keep our eye on eastern North Carolina, the Outer Banks. Possibly possible severe weather. A couple things unfolding as we go through the day today. You're going to get the heating of the day. Shear is going to increase, all that leading to the possibility that any thunderstorms that do develop could form lines. Damaging wind going to be the biggest threat here. Maybe some hail, and we'll keep an eye on any rotation. But you have plenty of moisture, and with that area of low pressure scooching on through and that warm front, that is going to be enough to keep the shower threat there today and also to the north. So again, this afternoon from Philadelphia, D.C., down to Norfolk and Richmond, showers, even a few thunderstorms. There you go for the afternoon hours. If you're going to get a head start on any travel, I-95 is going to be one of those big corridors. That'll be pretty wet here during the day today, at least. Thank you so much for staying with us for Weather Center Live. I'm meteorologist Maria Larosa.
And I'm meteorologist Chris Warren. From drought to flooding in some cases. Oftentimes getting out of something, whether it's an extreme event, usually has some extremes to go along with it. In this case, it's flooding. And
it's an extreme pattern bringing around all those changes. And it really has been an evolution over the last few weeks, certainly in some cases the last few months.
In other parts of the country, and you've likely heard us talk about California. California, I mean, you look at just how much of the exceptional drought, Maria, when you compare it to Texas, and exceptional, that's the worst of the worst, the most intense, and it's almost half the state.
Right, and again, the update is no extreme drought in Texas. That's the first time that has happened in, what, 5 years now as of this latest update. It has been a long time since Texas had conditions like this.
So it's absolutely amazing to see the difference. You compare the two. Now, the difference as far as getting out of the drought in California, you don't get these kind of weather patterns that you do get in Texas. You don't have that Gulf moisture to tap into to bring us out of drought.
But sometimes it's good to give you this comparison, the side-by-side, the haves and the have-nots, who's seeing the rain, where it's falling, and who's not getting it. So you take a look at some of the cities in Texas and what has happened to them over the last several months. So up to date now, from the beginning of the year to now, Oklahoma City, more than a foot of rain.
That's
more than a foot in Wichita. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's right. May to date. I'm sorry. Yes, May to date. Oklahoma City, Wichita Falls, more than a foot, and Dallas, more than 6 inches.
Yeah, making a point of that May because I want to show you now year to date. Maria's talking, what, almost 14 inches in Oklahoma City for the month of May. This is a look at 3 cities in California year to date. So you look here, year to date, almost 5 inches in Sacramento. Los Angeles, under 4 inches, and a little bit more than 3 1/4 in San Francisco. Again, year to date, looking at your monthly.
All right.
Just 1 month.
I'm going to show you something that'll really drive it home. Okay, so we looked at the monthly totals. How about for the next few days? You're going to see, like Wichita Falls, get nearly a month of rain out west in 1 day.
Right. It's amazing. You look at that 1 day or just the weekend, that is more rain than Los Angeles and San Francisco all year. So the difference in location and the type of weather and the climate that you live in, you just don't see that kind of rain in California. It's a different climate.
And it's the power of the persistent pattern.
Yes.
You know, which side you fall on when you come to
what is a tornado and how does it happen? First, as we break down the anatomy of a tornado, first, this is what you look for. In order for it to be a tornado, you don't necessarily have to have anything here, but what you need is the circulation at the surface and looking up and to see some sort of funnel or contact with a parent thunderstorm.
So there is sometimes a mistake where people see a funnel, but it may not be making contact with the ground. That's the definition of a tornado once it makes contact. So you do look for debris, and in this case, the debris cloud, which connects with the funnel.
It is a very complicated process here, but generally you're starting off with some very warm and moist inflow, and then eventually as the storm develops, you get this what's called the rear flank downdraft. And you talk about how confusing this looks. Now we're going to show you what else is going on here.
Right. So essentially, when you have it is rather complicated, right? But when you have the rotation and you have the upward motion, the updraft, and then you get the downdraft through the center, and that's where you have the center and the spiral.
And this is in addition to the inflow and then the downdraft. So when you have the rear flank downdraft, here's the one here in the center, it starts to work kind of like an engine, and then it just keeps feeding off of itself, and that's how it can go and last for miles and miles.
And sometimes you have little vortices within that that rotate, so that's a whole nother level. But we trying to communicate with you at home the conditions that lead to tornadoes. We call it Tornado Condition Index.
So essentially what this means, the bigger the number, the bigger the threat, and it's out of a 10, so a 7 out of 10 would be 70%. You times that by 10, and it's within a 50-mile radius of any point that has that torcon. And severe weather in late April and early May has kept the first response team of America busy, to say the least.
Absolutely. Last week, they spent time in the Lone Star State helping one community recover from a tornado strike. Anna Rodriguez has their